Brilliant Gems for Geminis. That's a great title. Okay, welcome to Brilliant Gems for
And I'm a
Geminis.
Taurus. I'm not a Gemini.
Oh,
That's right. A lot of May birthdays in the beginning are Taurus.
So
I'm on the cusp.
how are we both on the cusp? I thought I was on the cusp.
he's a Taurus.
2021.
You're
So
either
who are our May birthdays? You know, I'm going to mute everybody because it makes it easier. And then if you want to speak, I think you just hit your space bar or hit unmute or something. And that way we'll feel free to talk. We'll just be one at a time that way. So Erin, are you a May birthday? Aviva, are you a May birthday? Bitsalel, yes. Ellen, Rose, are you a May birthday? Feinerman, yes. Dr. Michael, Hazel, Ida, Farkash, iPhone, Jonathan, Clara, yes. Lois, Ruth, yes. We have Ruth and Ruth's iPhone. I'm not quite sure. Johanna, Joseph Brown. So all of you May birthdays, and there are others. There's Shulamit, there's Ruth Sager, several others.
Ruth Sager is here. That's Ruth's iPhone. We're not the same
Is that
person.
right? Hello, Ruth Sager.
Svea,
Look at
who's not
you.
here.
Svea, that's right. Where's Ruth Sager? Let me see you. Say hello. There you are. Hi, Ruth.
Where is
Nice
she?
to have you. Yeah.
Ah,
And Ruth's
how's it
iPhone
moving?
is Ruth. Ruth. And Lois, who are you here representing? Michael?
She's the audience.
That's great.
We're on,
She's the
we're on separate computers.
That's what I figured out. Margot is coming in. All right. So I have 4 questions for the May birthdays. Everybody can answer the first 3 questions. The 4th one, only the May birthdays. Okay. And I've shown you the questions. I'm going to show you once more, and then we'll get going. First question I want to ask anybody, what works? What makes you feel well? What, if you want to talk about healing journey, if you want to talk about how you enjoy life, whatever, this is an open topic, something about, Clara, I've already forgotten your great title, Gems for Geminis.
and Tauruses.
And Taurus, yeah, and tops for Tauruses. Number 2, any insights, takeaways, eurekas, aha moments, appreciations to speakers. And if you have anything specific where you say, oh, I really learned or I enjoyed or wow, I understood, trying to get specific insights for the article I want us all to contribute towards for the Macrobiotics Today magazine. And third one, if we want to talk a little bit about I wish and wouldn't it be nice and I'd like and I'd rather, these kind of things. So all kinds of things that we could do together. We'll get to that. And then finally, if we could have our Tauruses and Gems, is that right? Our May birthdays, if they would like to give any blessings. It's a very powerful time for all of you. So let's start then. Would anybody like to tell about, and I'm sort of thinking Michael Feinerman might start us off, or Joseph Brown, you might have something to say on the topic.
Oh, what happened to women first?
No such thing. No, I'm equal opportunity.
Age before beauty.
I suggest we go in order of our birth date.
Ladies first.
I suggest we
That's
just
a good
jump
one.
in.
Ginat, can you put the questions back on the screen?
Yes,
Sure.
I agree.
Sure.
What questions?
I'm going to put them again just for a moment because I really would rather see the people.
Yeah.
Number 1 that we're working on now, what makes you feel well today? What works? What are you doing that's working? And it doesn't have to be a macrobiotic remedy, and it doesn't have to be a fasting diet. It can be a thought, it can be a prayer, it can be a knowing, whatever it is. Can we stop sharing yet?
Yes,
Please.
we took a picture. Modern technology.
So anybody who wants to jump in And again, I'll just mute you so that you can unmute yourself when you're ready to talk. Go ahead. Go ahead. No
Okay.
hands raised.
Uh,
Please.
I think the greatest thing that makes me feel good is these connections of finding other people you have something in common with, finding someone who inspires you, finding someone you inspire, the excitement of this people together. I like it. So,
That's
done.
wonderful. What makes me feel good, we need Ruthie Portnoy here, is the connections we create. Am I paraphrasing you correctly? What makes me
Yeah,
feel good is the connections we create.
it's a stimulation from being with other people. The
Nice.
stimulation from their thoughts, your thoughts, exchange of thoughts, that like that.
Feel free.
Don't make a
Lovely.
tumsitch out of it.
Ella, you have a better idea? Very nice. Who's next?
So
Ruth, what works for you? Please.
that's not what I was thinking, but I love that. When I feel inspired and it gets me thinking, and I hear new ideas, that makes me really happy. But when the question specifically, what makes me feel well, like as in balanced and physically, emotionally, spiritually well, is I really need a good night's sleep and I need space in my day. If I try to squish in too many things, I just get really easily overloaded and don't feel so good. And I'm not very nice to be around. But if I get space, I'm a really happy camper and I have lots and lots to give.
So am I understanding that this was a bit too much?
Well, it was for me because I didn't know about it until about a week before, and I continued with my clients and my teaching. So I had, like yesterday, I started doing house stuff early, but I started here teaching at 10, and I was on until 9 p.m. last night. That is too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, I guess future notice about it, and I just can't do so many things in one day. I prefer quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
That's just,
All right.
but it works for some people. So some people do what they do, and I do what I do. I don't know how I'm going to handle next Wednesday again, because again, I schedule people, and so I'm going to be surfing back and forth and wishing that I could be two places in one at once.
Is it anything that you would like to talk more about overscheduling, or you're good?
No, I think just knowing in advance what the schedule is. And I know, I'm not complaining because I know this was put together at the last minute. So it would be good to have the schedule in place before it starts. And then for those, maybe I'm in a minority who's still working and then juggling. I don't know, but
Without being intrusive, is this an issue for you in general?
well, in general, I schedule myself so that I have decent breaks between people. So I said it not referring specifically to the forum, but in my life. Like I know some therapists that can go back to back to back for 10 hours. And
Yeah.
I like a half an hour between people, which is
And
actually,
so had you known with more advance notice, what would you have done differently?
I would not have scheduled many of the people I scheduled.
Uh-huh. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I would have scheduled them the following week or the week before.
Yeah. Oh, I'm honored. Thank you.
Including next Wednesday. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Good. Anyone else? What works for you? What?
I think that,
Okay, what I,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
Aaron.
It was very, very full week. And you cannot listen to all presentation during such a week. It's impossible. I was very impressed with the quality, but it was quite often. So I had to make choices. So maybe you asked in some later question, what are the suggestions? Maybe you do leave the annual stuff like this, but if you want to continue, have a weekly meeting, the same day, same time, every week, when people get together, and every week there'll be another topic. And that way people can choose and plan in advance, and in that way you can cover more topics, more people, and you have the space ahead of time. If you do it in one location like Jerusalem, you come for a week, that's great. Then you dedicate the week for this. But if everybody's at home, it's very difficult to dedicate the entire week to this whole presentation. You're the only one, I guess, that have been dedicated, not all the time. And I don't know how you did it, because we have much.
Aaron, are you saying one full day a week, Yom Yun? One day a week on a particular topic?
Yes, but not even every week. If it's every week, it should be a few hours, 2-3 hours a week. But full day a week is maybe also too much for people. But the
Maybe
weekly,
one day a month.
yeah, something like this. Mm-hmm.
Nice idea. Nice idea. And Aaron, what for you in your life works or makes it work?
Well, you asked what made you feel good and what works.
Right.
I'm new to this whole macrobiotic world. And the amazing things is the people that I see. I've never met such a group of people. So that's the biggest reward for me, to see these kind of people, all these fantastic people who practice and talk about this. And they're different than the people I'm used to. So for me, this is a big privilege to be part of such a group. I've never been in this kind of group in my life, and I'm very blessed for being part of it. That's what makes me feel good.
How are the people different?
They are different, I can. They are different.
I think so too. I agree.
They aren't usual people. They're dedicated. They are good. They are kind. They are, and I'm not sure I'm this kind of person. Maybe I wish I was, but
Keep
my
chewing.
question is different. I'm not going to try to describe the people. I want to ask a question about more people should join this way of life. And how do we make this more common theme for younger people? You look at our age here, it's pretty much average age is quite advanced here. I'd like to see young people. I'd like to see children, my children, people at the age of my children find this useful. I don't know how to do it, but I think this should be one of the goals of this kind of activity. Israel is a place.
I'll mention, Aaron, that on Wednesday, we have our youngest speaker ever, and she is not quite 7 years old.
Wow. That's
She's going to be teaching us what she likes to eat and
oh,
how to make it. Yeah.
good. But you see, that would be one of the goals that I would suggest to increase the community by making more appeal to younger people.
Okay. Who else? Thank you, Aaron. Basalet?
Yeah, okay, so I have a few points. One point that I feel that makes people feel good is being part of something that's bigger than themselves. It's a little bit what Aaron is addressing. And he sees, I think, in a lot of the people here, a certain amount of altruism and authenticity that's rare to find in the outside world, in a world of physical pursuit. That sort of answers also why his question, why you don't see young people, is it usually takes about 3/4 of a lifetime to start to become sensitive to really wanting to be part of an authentic community, world, and people. And when you're young, you're usually caught up in the chase, right? We're caught up in the chase of whatever you're chasing. The other thing, just as a short, for me, what works is trying to close the gap. There's a gap. What's the gap? The gap is how we see ourselves and how we believe we should be. This addresses a little bit Ruth also. There's a psychological idea, but it's a very clear idea that's very profound. A person carries within him how he feels about himself, but yet at the same time, he has beliefs of what he needs to do. So let's say, for example, I lived with it the whole week. I work also as Ruth, and they saw me maybe in the background, my building sites that I'm working on. And I lived in a whole week where I felt I wanted to see and hear every single person that spoke, because it was just some amazing people that brought. Ruth spoke unbelievable. I mean, I don't see different people here or whatever, but I'm trying to remember. I mean, there was so much ambience. There was such a good feeling, and so much was taught to us, and you don't want to miss. But that comes to my line. My line is, just like I see all the faces here, nobody can teach any of us our true health journey. It's a very individual thing. That was years ago. Ginat and Sheldon taught me was that it's a very individual, very individual. Here we see the whole schedule. It's a very individual journey. What was beautiful about this whole conference was that it gave us a little bit of a look into each one of every individual's way of how they approach and what they feel could really help. And you saw that genuineness, that they really want to help. The help comes from within us, and each one of us, we hope, and that was the great thing in the service that Ginat, I mean, I couldn't believe it, her and Sheldon are sitting there the whole day, they don't move. It's such a service, because what it's doing is allowing us as observers to be exposed, like Aaron, to be exposed to things that we were never exposed. I was exposed to, I'm telling you, I'm blown away. I'm ready to hire the lady. I've been trying to write for years. I have crummy writing since grade school. And yesterday, this young lady taught about creative writing. You know, and when I finally composed something, I felt good for a moment. And then I saw what other ladies who have amazing writing ability, but it inspired me. It said, maybe it's time, Bitzalo, that you do really write. And here's maybe somebody who could help you and guide you. Yes, it's my own personal writing, my own personal feelings. So that is my take on being part of something bigger, but finding your own individuality within it. And that's what I see here. And I see the expression of all the people that we hear from across the earth. I mean, literally across the earth. You had people from Singapore and all the people that Ginat is so connected and had so many people here. I also wish the same thing that Aaron wishes. And my family knows it, you know, over the years, trying to bring, here's my brother, my sister on listening, and a lot of people, my own family and my children, I have grandchildren now. It's hard. And that may be something to talk about amongst us. How can we really do something that brings the other people into this openness to be able to really see there is something to this kind of lifestyle? So that's my take. And again, I personally thank Ginat and Sheldon, all the people that were here, the people that listened, the people that contributed, and all the people that are open to thinking in a new way. It's a very big blessing to all of us. And thank you again.
So that's a big question about how and how much and whether to proselytize. Do I want to bring people into the fold? Do I want to expose? Do I want to push? Do I want to? That's a big question.
Well, when we originally discussed it between you and me, the idea of trying to give people the tools for how to find their own personal journey, The first tool in my eyes is a certain openness, being able to accept things that they see that come their way. Maybe there's something here that I need to integrate in my life. It's hard because we become overwhelmed. Like there were a million things this week that I want to integrate. But if a person learns to listen, really learns to listen to their inner compass, they can feel this is the thing that touches me. This is the thing that can possibly help guide me in my life. And it may guide you for a certain period of time and you go onward. So I understand Ruth also her reserve of not having too much. It is a little bit. So you just tune out. The problem is when we tune out, we feel bad. So that was the gap that I talked about at the beginning. We have what we feel about ourselves, but we feel that we need to listen to everything. You don't need to listen to everything. There was a lot of talk this week about self-acceptance, that we accept ourselves, who we are. So many of the people touched on this, and that helped the people who did a lot of mindful activities here and taught a mindfulness a little bit. We're trying to help us calm that inner feeling of that we always need to reach the goal that somewhere in our mind we've set for ourselves, whether it's religious or just we have so many attitudes that we really believe we have to be. Who says we need to be that way? We could have to just really be able to accept ourselves. So again, this is something for discussion in the practicality of how many people. I agree with Aaron's idea. It's a very nice idea. Once a week, and maybe one person, somebody wrote it in the chat, one person once a week for maybe an hour. Waiting in a month is too much of a disconnect. Once a week is enough, but not a whole day, because that's heavy on people, at least for the people that are working. It's heavy more than an hour and a half a day, 1 day a week. That's my take.
Interesting idea. One person for an hour every week.
Hey, everybody.
Good, Michael.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of people know me. I can talk for a couple hours on any topic. I think that's probably one of the more, except for maybe for Hazel, one of the more senior people here. For those who don't know me, I've been into the macrobiotic scene, quote unquote, for about 20 years now. Not totally 100% macrobiotic, but I think what was raised was the idea of how much to learn, what to learn, who to learn from. It's virtually impossible. We've learned from all this coronavirus thing is that there's just so much out on the net. I've been learning more with some of my old Fabrices and my learning groups the past week or two than ever before, because you don't have to drive someplace and go someplace. You can just tune them in on Zoom, now Google Meet, or WhatsApp, and connected for learning and gaining more knowledge. I think the one overall thing that I would want to get out to people, because I don't want to answer all the questions, is gratitude. Hakarata Tov. And I think that's the important thing here, is to be grateful to the people like yourself and Sheldon who put this thing together, grateful to the people who participated and shared their wealth with us. Just a general attitude of gratitude. One thing that was raised, that it was Aaron who mentioned it, about how to teach, how to get the word out. I think people have to learn by example. I think in my family's case, they've learned by example. I didn't ever expect to teach the whole gang to be macrobiotic in 2 months or 3 months. But they have picked up on things because they see how my wife and I have been living with this for 20 years. We go to one child's house now, and there's no more soda and sweet drinks on the table. They only drink water when they have their meals. Other families are more vegetarian, others are more into whole foods, into organic food. You can spend 3 or 4 lectures on organic food. So I say I could talk on any topic for any amount of time. But I think the gratitude's an important thing to be aware of. You get up every morning, you say Moda'ani, and you have to be grateful for that. anything you've learned about and all this teaching over the week is that the human body is a complex thing. Trillions and trillions of cells and connections that go on. You get up in the morning and that's all working again. You got to be grateful for that. I have an old story I always tell. It's a friend I had when we lived in Atlanta. A guy sat behind me, and truly he was a kibitzer. And we're talking about, you know, pray and you say all these things, and he told me a cute little story. Not a story, where he lived. He said he got up in the morning, and he lived in an old, small, you know, two-family house. And the old houses in the old days, for those of us who remember, you didn't have master bedrooms with baths right in the bedroom. You had to get out of the bedroom. Usually you had to walk down a hallway to get to the bathroom, which is for the whole family. So he said when he got up in the morning, he got out of bed and he walked to go to the bathroom. He walked down the hall. As he walked down the hall, he passed this mirror, which was hanging on the wall. And he stopped every morning and he looked in the mirror. He said, if I recognize that individual in the mirror, I said, Moda Ani. Thank God. I was back again. It was me. I think it's a cute story, but it's really very true. And just, I'll conclude with my other thought right now. In view of what's been going on in the world and in this country in particular with this coronavirus business. We have to be grateful to God that we're living in Israel. I don't want to disparage anybody not living in Israel. But just for those who do, and even the rest of the world should know, we're supposed to be a light unto the nations. Israel had probably the lowest fatality rate of coronavirus of probably any country in the world. Maybe not Singapore, maybe not the Southern Hemisphere countries where they didn't have corona right now, because in Australia, I spoke to a friend of mine there, the whole country of Australia had 100 deaths from coronavirus as of last week. You're in the Southern Hemisphere. You don't get the flu in the summertime. Forget that. Anyway, there's a country where I don't know, you get up this morning, kids are back in school, synagogues are opening up. I've been in the gym twice already. Stores are open, shops are opening up, people are out and about and around. And the virus is going away. We have to be grateful to God above. We have gotten that present from him. Not only did we have the plague go away on Lag BaOmer just about, which is that story. We got 5 days of high heat in May, the longest 5 days of continuous heat in May ever recorded. What doesn't the virus like? Heat.
Heat.
Get outside, get fresh air, get the heat, and we should be grateful for that. So that would be my final message. Be grateful.
That's a nice observation. Yeah. Thanks. Who else we got here? Yosef, Lois, Ida, Hazel, Liel, Margot, Ruth Sager, Aviva, Jonathan, Ellen, Johanna, iPhone. What works for any of you? What's your path to wellness? What's your happiness factor? Don't be shy. Come on, Michael will start talking again.
Add something or not? Another thought, but okay to be with me or not? Got your headphones on. Do you hear anything in that? All right.
We hear.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, well, I'm going to talk. I don't know. She's directing traffic. I don't want to impose here, but I had another thought. Hello. Are you with us?
Add some things.
Had some things.
I thought we were like it was I went at the beginning and I thought the idea was a couple of sentences apiece.
Yeah.
So I tried to, so I said what most makes me feel well, but if I don't do my daily yoga and walk, I just don't feel, and I don't feel the same. And if my diet is off, I don't feel as good. So definitely fresh air, being outside. Wow. Arlene's here. So those things also make a difference. And for me, I have a regular focusing practice. I focus at least 3 times a week with a partner. We each have 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and then we support the other person. So we each get a turn. And that really helps me stay connected to myself and to what's important to me. You know, I walk around with me all day long, but unless I stop and really tune in and take the time to be quiet and have nothing at all to do except for to listen inside, I don't hear the depth of what's happening for me. And that, even though it might seem like a really small thing in the scheme of things, it's huge, because those little shifts I find, if you're driving a car and you're going 90 miles an hour and you turn the steering wheel just a tiny bit, you could go way off into the other lane. It doesn't take very much of a correction. I mean, and also you can correct it, and the same thing, if we're living our lives kind of, and our lives, even if we're moving slowly, like I move a lot more slowly, like, for example, my friend Lois, who accomplishes well, she might not move, I don't know how fast you move, but you just accomplish a tremendous amount in every day. I just find, for me, I need to slow down and just check, like, where I am spiritually, where I am emotionally, and that helps me a lot. So did I maybe prime the pump? Maybe there's another Gemini or Taurus who would like to say something?
I can add something here. Yeah, is that all right? Huh? For me. I thought we should get back to macrobiotics. And think
It's all connected to macrobiotics, isn't it? Isn't it macrobiotics all about balance, and it's a whole lifestyle? It's not just what we eat, it's also how we think. That's my understanding. And I think we spend...
Let's let the man talk. Go ahead, Michael.
I just want to say this. It seems like we spend more time on the cooking and the eating and the cutting and the preparing of...
It's just what I was going to speak. Just what I was going to speak to. Okay.
Please.
Having been macrobiotic, quote unquote, for 20 years, what I learned, and I think what's a critical word beside gratitude, is balance, as you said. If nothing else, what was stressed during the course of the week, for those who may be new to macrobiotics or not so new to macrobiotics, it's a persistent concept, is balance. Yin yang, acid base, hot and cold, up and down. And I think that's what's the important thing to get out of all this, is try to maintain that balance in your life. Not just diet, but exercise, learning. I don't know. It's just a combination. It's very important. And I don't eat macrobiotic totally every day. I hate to say that my breakfast this morning was totally not macrobiotic. If you want to send me an email, I'll tell you what it was. But the point is, that's not my regular breakfast. I try to balance what I do in terms of how much exercise, how much I eat this, how much I do that. And I think that's just an important concept to get out of the concept of macrobiotics. It's really based on that yin-yang balance that exists in the world and everywhere, beside diet, just everywhere else, and try to stay in that midline someplace. The Rambam was the one who said, do everything in moderation. I think that's important.
Thank you, Michael. And that's kind of what I was trying to say, this balance also between internal and external.
What do you mean by that, Ruth? Internal and external?
Well, the implicit and the explicit. There's so many things to balance. You usually think of physical and emotional or something like that, the physical and the spiritual, but there's also how much attention we put to people, and then there's listening inside of ourselves. So that would be another. There's so many things to look at, and they probably each have a yin and a yang quality. But that's what I meant by internal and external. Extrovert and introvert. So even though some of us are labeled as one, that we all can take on qualities of the other.
Joseph Brown, do you have anything to say?
Well, the first thing I have to say is I enjoyed hearing my brother's presentation very, very much. I didn't tune into the entire summit, but I did watch him with his earphones attached to his telephone in his pocket while putting up sheetrock or measurements or trying to talk to clients and lead a team of family, basically. You know, renovating a very nice apartment in Yerushalayim. But just to the point of the initial question of what makes me feel good, I would say when I feel like I have the ability to realize that I can realize. That might sound a little bit, you know, airy-fairy, but when I can actually feel like I have contact with my free choice, with who I am, and I'm not just reacting to everything that's going on, and the next thing happens and I react to that, and the next thing happens and I react to that. Instead, I feel conscious enough to be able to choose to interact with things and to actually be involved in what's going on rather than have all the things that are going on impacting me and affecting me and causing me and whatever that means. Instead, to be in a position where, as I said, I'm able to realize that I'm able to realize. I'm aware that I'm aware. That lately, for the last number of years, I've been thinking about that and practicing that and teaching that as much as possible. But when that experience actually happens and it's not just a drift, you know, for a few minutes, but it actually can continue for maybe an hour or two, and different things happen, and realize that while you're in that mind space, when you're in that actually mindless space, you're in this openness, that you actually behave differently, you feel differently, you think differently. And it would seem to me that the interaction with people and the way they receive you is obviously going to be very, very different. So that's my inspiration for what I'd like to share. Appreciate
That's
all.
very nice. Lois Feinerman? Arlene, hi, welcome.
Hi.
Yeah,
First of all, I want to say kol hakavod to you and Sheldon
thank you
for
very much.
putting it on. But I have to, for those of you who don't know me, I've been macrobiotic about 18 years. And I'm now at a point where I'm cooking. And my favorite thing was just to watch Patrick. I could watch Patrick cut for hours and hours. I mean, that was my favorite. But when you had asked about what makes you happy, I've been doing a lot of other energy work. And I've learned over the years, I've learned Jin Shin Jitsu. And they have been having since the coronavirus, they've been having a half-hour session in the evenings. It used to be every night. Now it's only on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But I find when I work with the energy, it does something for me. And it gives me, I don't know.
Come on, it gives me.
it changes my energy. I become maybe more relaxed. I don't know, but I enjoy the energy. I would really, I've been on the iPhone, so I don't know, but I would like to hook up with that meditation in the morning that she did. So I'd like to figure that out, but and I listen, I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing. I didn't have an internet connection, but what I listen to, I find very interesting. And I would like to, it would be nice to be able to continue on a weekly basis, something an hour and a half, you know, it would be nice.
Ginat?
Yes, Lois.
I just want to say something, not about myself, but about this wonderful forum, that because of the unusual times we're in, this couldn't be bidiyuk, exactly it evolved. I think it evolved into something overwhelming, and I think that was good because it raised a lot of questions. It gave us a lot of inspiration, and now we can kind of think what we're going to take from this ahead to the future.
And what are some of your thoughts?
Some of my thoughts, I was very inspired by Dini, who
Yes, me
didn't
too.
speak about food, but she spoke about her and her dream and how she wants to, in a little bit, change the world and the difficulties. And I was very inspired because we all think about what we want to do, but we never take it a step further and do something. So I was very inspired by that. And
Who is this? Can you repeat that? You were inspired by who?
Dini Vander Hubel. She spoke yesterday late. It was late, and her speech has been recorded. So it was very, very inspiring. And she's young. She comes from a macrobiotic family, so she was macrobiotic as a child. So, and also the everybody had something to give, and that's what was so beautiful. And I just had to make choices. I did some of my usual things, and I just made choices and figured, well, maybe I'll get back to listening to some of the others. But kol hakavod.
Anybody else, Lois, come to mind?
Oh, well, I just don't want to take any more time, but, you know, of course, it was just wonderful to see Lino, these great names. It was almost like, you know, great names, and Jessica Porter and Patrick, but also the quiet people who we don't know about. I discovered them too. Ellen Rose, I was very
Hi.
Ellen Rose. Yeah, Rose. Yeah. Sorry.
I'd like to say something to all of you, especially Sheldon and Ginat. I'm just so awed and in such gratitude that you've put this together in such a graceful and perfect way. It's even though it's the first time on Zoom, and it happened, you know, not because we intended it, because we had no choice. But it's so much sharing and learning, even though, as I said, I couldn't be present at every lesson and every session, but a lot of times I was listening. And so thank you to everybody, and to Ginat and Sheldon, 12 points. I must say I am not macrobiotic. We're vegetarian, and I would like to be macrobiotic. It's just daunting. And also, I think before I learn to cook macrobiotic, I need to learn how to shop. That's the main thing, because there are so many ingredients that I have no idea what they are and where to find them. And this is something that's a big challenge.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
But the experiences that I do have with being at the farm and eating the wonderful food it really turns me into a really healthy and energetic person in ways that I can't even begin to describe. So, chapeau.
Merci. Aviva, anything from you?
I'm resonating with what Ruth says and some other people. And for me, it's a search for inner peace, which I'm looking for. And I'm looking for secrets. Everybody has their own secrets. I still didn't figure out my secret for inner peace. That's what I'm searching for. So here's my dilemma, my direction.
Ruth Sager, can you start us off with some brachot? Do we have non-Hebrew speakers here? Can you start us off, Ruth Sager, with some birthday blessings?
Where's Ruth?
Is she still here? Ruth's iPhone, yeah, she's here. Ruthie. Woo. Maybe she doesn't know I can unmute. Ruth, we can hear you now. Can you give us some blessings?
She's still
Ruth
muted.
Sager?
She's muted. She's
not
muted.
here. I don't see
Yes,
her.
she is. Unmute. Ruth Sager. No, she's not letting me unmute.
Oh, here she is. She's back.
I'm not able to unmute her.
I'm gonna call her.
Well, Ruth, if you figure out how to unmute yourself, who's a good blesser? If we all sneeze, bless you.
Wasn't there a rabbi on the program?
I think so. I think we have a few. Is there anyone, Hazel, is there anyone who hasn't spoken who would like to say something?
Well,
I'd
Yes.
like to say something. This is Aviva here.
Yofi. Hi, Viva.
Sorry, camera not so working today. So
Camera not so working.
you'll have to look at my beautiful white little image. But I just wanted to say I've just been listening to all of you and just getting inspired and just like to hear what you all had to say. I don't have much to add. I think that everyone kind of pointed out something that I feel myself. I mean, we need people, we need inspiring people around us. I think that's been most important to me. Good teachers, and I think the key word is honesty in general in life. But it's really finding people, good people and good teachers and people you can learn from. And that's it. I wouldn't add anything about how the forum should be. I think anything works for anyone. But I understand that it's a whole day.
Okay.
Just a minute, Ruth, hang on.
And
Hold on.
I look forward to next.
Plug my earphones.
Oh, Ruth's taking my.
Second, Ruth, quiet.
Okay. Okay, here I am.
It's okay. I will see everyone on Wednesday, and we'll continue from
All right,
there.
Aviva.
Have a Shabbat Shalom. Bye.
Great to have you. Bye-bye. Ruth, can you give us a blessing?
So that you can enjoy your life no matter what happens, no matter with it's all the surprises that we get, that you still find pleasure in. For me, that first cup of hot tea, the first few sips every morning, I just know I'm enjoying life, and that we should always have something to look forward to. And I thought this was a great initiative because, you know, I enroll and I book my bed from year to year, And all of a sudden, Hashem saying, you know, you can't really make plans. You think you can make plans. So it was really good that, you know, I'm all zoomed out. Even my mother said, I am on Zoom. I have my writing class on Zoom. So I'm all zoomed up. I'm not good at sitting with Zoom. It's not the same for me. But what is great is just, I was there a few times during the week, just seeing everybody's face and the continuity, so that you may all have continuity and as well as renewal in your lives.
Wow.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. More blessings from you birthday ladies and sorry people. We're over time. If you need to leave, please do.
No, no, no. Okay,
Who
can I
has a-
make more suggestions?
Please.
Am I on?
You are.
Jean, when she came once, she told us that the best connection is face to face, in person. You feel the person, you see, you react, you understand. If you misunderstand, you could correct. That was the first. I found it very amusing. I should have asked Aviva, I don't know if she's still here, if Jean still doesn't use the computer, because she said she doesn't. I think the second connection, which we could still do, is telephoning, because telephone's a little bit more direct. I'm not sure why than the computer, but we are stuck here right now for a while. Don't know how long, but I would love if there's any way, Ginat, that we could all connect with each other. If there's any way you could make a list of the participants as well as the speakers and just, I don't know, some way that we could all connect, still stay in connection. That's one. And
Okay.
two, for those who are interested in macrobiotics, when I started, even then I realized connection was so important. It just, the world of macrobiotics feels isolated in this, what did Patrick say? What do we call it? The standard American, the sad diet in the world. And so we do feel that it's difficult when everyone around us is not doing it. And so way back then, I tried creating some kind of a group. We used to meet once a month. That was before computers. It was very hard to organize. Then with Arlene's help, I got good with computers and we started to meet every week. Then Yahoo did a thing on me and disappeared. So our Yahoo group disappeared, but we still have a group. It's very small. And if anybody's interested to call me, to write me, I don't know, whichever way you want. It's called Macro Lovers of Jerusalem. It's an IO group. I think you could sign yourself up if you go. But if you write to me, I'd love to put you on. It's not a it's not a learning group. It's just everybody supporting each other in whatever ways we can until we could get together and get our potlucks back for those who would like.
To you, Clara. Very good.
Right. So how could we reach each other?
So
Can you make a list of?
Hold on.
Ginat?
Wait, hold on. My technology is.
Well, I'll write down
Private.
my phone number. Whoops, I lost the group.
Aaron?
Yeah. Following on this last comment from Clara, if we go back and we try to look at previous presentations, you have the information which of these presentations resonated the most by the feedback that you're getting and by the you're asking. So maybe you can put out which are the presentations that made the biggest impact. And that way you can select what you want to see first, the priority of what you see back.
I can tell you of all of the YouTubes that we posted, the one by far with the most views is at ESCO.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Number one. And then also Luke, Elijah, Patrick, some of the top stars that we've had.
So can you send out this list and so we'll know?
I'll see if I can get Sheldon to do that. He's in charge of that.
Okay.
Johanna?
You're so precious. You in trying to, in living your life and trying to be a better human, you help us to be better humans. And
Wow.
it's amazing. I think it's wonderful. The biggest thing you can do in this world is help another person to be a better human.
Very sweet.
And the classes do this, everything, you know, it's nice.
I'm going to give my short blessing. Start off with the Marachim, the host, Sheldon and Ginat. I think it's a baby speaking for a lot of people that we want to bless them with good health and with the ability to do what they love most, which is like just like this young lady, Johanna, said, they want to help people. So that's my blessing. They should have a lot of strength and a lot of desire to continue and be surrounded always by the people that they love and they cherish and all those who build together a positive life here. So it's my blessing to them and to all the people that have been together during this conference. They should all see good health and they should have the ability to help others, because that will definitely fulfill them. And Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen. Where is Renee?
Can you unmute all of us?
She works the whole week, and now she's cooking in the kitchen, the macrobiotic food.
Bring her over.
I don't want to.
Can you unmute
I got to
us,
get her. I'll see if I can get her. Hold on.
We could hear you, Aaron. We could hear you.
Can you unmute everybody?
Unmute everybody. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's give Ginat and Sheldon a big hand.
Hey!
Yay!
Just like we did for the doctors and the emergency people, you are our emergency people.
Doctor of life. Are
I'm
we
off.
missing
My wife.
anybody? Is
Okay.
she coming, Batzala?
Shabbat
Yeah,
Shalom.
you haven't said anything.
Yeah, she's not. She's no chance. We're gonna catch it on a private one.
Maybe Wednesday. Okay.
Feel good to me.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
God bless you all.
Everybody on Wednesday.
Thank
We'll
you,
see you all
everybody.
Wednesday then. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Yosef. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Why aren't you speaking?
Bye-bye. We're going to close
Don't
it
you
down.
notice something?
Yes, speak. Don't close yet, Ginat.
Okay.
But
Okay.
don't you notice?
No glasses. I
No
noticed very
glasses.
much.
No.
What?
There's a camera working.
That's right.
Oh.
You haven't seen it all week. And I went out this morning for the third time to the store, and they finally did the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Yeah. And thank you very much. Really. I think this was something very lovely.
Thank you. So I wish everyone Shabbat Shalom, a good Shabbat. And
Ginat, what's on your menu tonight?
see you on Wednesday. Mwah.
Oh, you're not going to tell.